Well, we've come to the end of 2020. What a year. I probably agree with most people when I say that it probably tested all of us in one way or another. So this year was pretty great for So, and we had some great accomplishments. We got the Beatrice form from someone anonymously, which was such a great gift and such a great asset to the stream, and I'm really enjoying it. I still haven't even explored all the things that I want to do with her. And we had over 106 live streams that we all sewed together. There were more than 20 uploads because there were some patterns and some how-tos. And we did over 50 different projects, mostly in the live streams. And we also surpassed our 500th video. So that's pretty great too. I think in 2.5 years, over 500 videos, that's pretty astounding. So I wanted to go over a few of my favorite makes and my least favorite makes of the year. And I did have these into a few different categories. And so these are the categories I settled on. One is kind of an overarching category of what I found useful or satisfying to sew or really enjoyable. There were so many of those that kind of crossed over into those three categories. I just lumped them together. There is the most like the ones I would make again that are already on my cutting table that I plan to make again. The ones that I found less than satisfying or a little disappointing. And also, lastly, I added the ones that were kind of the most spectacular, that were kind of the biggest bang to look at. So, all right, are you ready? And then I'm going to show you every stream and every video that we did this year really quickly. All right, so we're going to start with my favorite things that I made this year. These were all things that I made with you. I mean, definitely I make things off camera. I sewed well over 100 items this year. And this category, I want to focus on how useful or enjoyable or satisfying they were to sew. Any pair of jeans I sew is always one of my favorite things to sew. I just love sewing jeans, and we did a few of those. Pants number 1, I love that pattern. It's such a great like basic block, and that's by 100 Acts of Sewing. And I've already have a set on my table that I'm kind of modifying to be kind of into lounge pants, and I'm really excited about. The Sorrento bucket hat, that's a free pattern by Elba Textiles, and I just thought, oh, this will be a fun little pattern, but it was so easy, so fast, so fun to make that if I wore hats more often, I would be making them all the time. A tamarack vest. I took the tamarack jacket and made a vest. That is so hugely useful to my lifestyle, mostly at home and out in the yard. I really love it. It's just a great 3-season piece of clothing to have in my wardrobe. The Closet Core Patterns Free Floor Poof pattern was one of the most fun things I sewed. I've sewn a few of those off camera. They're mostly all dog beds for me. One we are using as kind of a step stool, but it ended up being a step stool for the dogs. So I really love that one. It's really fun. I modified it a few different ways. I can't recommend that one enough. And you can put all your scraps in. It makes it really heavy, but it is a great place. Instead of throwing your scraps into landfill, you can, or stuff it full of bedding that you just don't use very often. If it's going to stay pretty clean, you can store it in your floor poof, which is pretty nice, pretty convenient, and a nice space saver, right? Let's see. The sagebrush top that I modified within an inch of its life into a dress, which was just my own little journey. I really enjoyed it. I love the style of that top, and it just kind of inspired the dress that it became. So I still have yet to just make the top as is. I really love the dress. That was super satisfying to make. I did all kinds of really fun details and matched the plaid, and I love the result of that dress. Let's see. The Suki robe was really, really fun and satisfying to sew, and I ended up making 2 of them, and I love the little coat that I made for myself. I'm wearing it all the time. It's great for dog walks and just being around the house. I love it. Let's see. The jeans, pants number 1, Sorrento, tamarack vest, closet core poof, sagebrush dress, Suki robe, and I can't not say how useful masks were I don't need to say a whole lot about that. We all know how useful that was, and we all learned and became mini experts in mask making. And then lastly, this is the only pattern of mine that I'm going to say in all of my lists, but I really loved making the bin bin, and I constantly am thinking of a use for that pattern. Currently, I'm thinking about making it as a cover for a sewing machine and using it upside down. So there's lots of use for that, and I just love that you can plug in any number you need for the dimension of it, and it's just really satisfying, and I've made oodles of those. All right, so what's next? So as far as the things like that disappointed me, these are kind of these are probably going to seem like cop-out disappointments, but honestly most of my stuff went really well this year, but I have been really disappointed in a few things that I made, and mostly because of my own error in what I picked out for fabric. So first thing I would say is the napkins. Like, I'm really obsessed with making napkins that don't wrinkle in the laundry. I know that's a lofty goal, but I know it's possible, and I just kind of delved into what makes it wrinkle, what doesn't, cutting it on grain, what fabric choice, whatever. And mine are still wrinkling, some better than others. So, you know, I still have some work to do on that. The underwear streams. The menswear went great. My husband wears those. He loves them. And I think just for me, I just didn't enjoy sewing knits on my current machine setup. I've worked in knits since I went to college. I worked at some really big knitwear companies. I used to have great machines. I used to do prototypes. It all went really well until lately. I'm just not feeling it. So I think that's just me. And I just need to work on that. Everyone I feel like was really nice on the streams, and they really enjoyed the process. And I think anytime you see someone who is a beginner, if you're a beginner, you get almost more out of it than seeing an expert, because that beginner's kind of, you know, encountering the things that you encounter, and then you see them troubleshooting it, and you're like, oh, okay. So I think when you're really far away from being a beginner, it's hard to remember what that's like. And so that is a really good project for me to get better at, right? Win-win, right? Let's see, what else? The free range shorts. So I really love the free range slacks by Sew House 7. I recommend that pant pattern to everybody who's looking for a flattering pair of pants that's really comfortable and easy to sew. I love that pattern. I decided to make it a button fly front and pair of shorts. Pattern turned out great. The shorts turned out great. My fabric was just a little too heavy and a little bit too stiff. But then I made a second pair off camera in a Tencel viscose kind of combination, and I love those. Those turned out really great, and I wear those when it's warmer out. So that was, you know, that was just a bad fabric choice for me. The canvas is really useful for me, but it just, you know, they could have been better. So that's just one thing I found. Let's see, the jelly roll quilt. So I love the idea of the jelly roll race, and that was, we all had a lot of fun, but I think everybody kind of came to the same conclusion that unless you're really engineering how your fabrics are going to lie, you might get some results that you're not that pleased with. I did engineer mine. I do like the result of mine, but when I made another one with a jelly roll that I had on hand, love the jelly roll, hated the little quilt, and I haven't even finished it. And I got some really great tips from one of the viewers to check out cutting it and maybe into some diagonal chunks and kind of reassembling it that way. I'm going to try that, right? So that's something a little disappointing. Lastly, the Sunday V-neck by Friday Pattern Company. Pattern's great, and it fits pretty good. It's a unisex pattern. I'm not a big fan of anything unisex because I do feel like the fit could be, it's just a little bit middle of the road, and I definitely have some curves, right? But I don't like my fabric that I picked. And I wear now as a pajama top, and I didn't want it to be a pajama top. And I think that's because I thought I was like going out of my comfort zone and picking some fun fabrics and everything, and they so look like a pajama set. So there's that disappointment. I really wanted a jersey shirt. One of my favorite childhood shirts with my Popeye screen printed on the front was a jersey shirt, and I really want a good jersey shirt. I just love that look, and I love that kind of top. I did make another one for my daughter, and it's cute, but it was more of a joke tee, and she liked it. It was fun, and it was just for a graduation present. So you'll see a screenshot of that in the slideshow coming. So again, pattern was fine. Didn't really like my fabric choices, so that is on me. So yeah, those are my disappointments. biggest spectacular kind of makes that I made this year by far were, I picked two. The Madison cardigan by Style Sew Me. That photo on Instagram surprisingly just got a lot of love, and it is the stunning jacket, and it looks really great. I don't get to keep that one. It was a sponsored stream, and so it was really fun to be able to do that. And I did it out of a woven, and the pattern calls for a knit, so there's that as well. But that definitely was pretty spectacular. I'd really like to make it in a short version just because it is really so easy to wear, and really, it's really cute and really simple. So that's a good one. And then on the other end of the spectrum for spectacular would be the Blanca flight suit that I made into garden coveralls. That was a super satisfying and fun sew. It was pretty epic. Lots of details, top stitching, lots of just great stuff to sink your teeth into, which I love doing. I love that kind of sewing. And they were pretty spectacular. Plus, they ended up being really useful for me as well. So they could have been in my useful, enjoyable, satisfying category, but I think spectacular really suits the Blanca flight suit really well, especially as my garden coverall. So that's where I landed with those. Lastly, my make again. My make again category, apparently I need pants because there's quite a few pants in my make again category. I'd really like to make the Morgan jeans again. Those are a non-stretch pair of pants, and I really like the ones I made. So I think that would be a pattern I'll revisit again. Those, I just kind of like the idea of having some pants that aren't stretch all the time. The pants number one I am using as a basic block practically for lots of other patterns that I do off camera just for myself, quick little projects or things for how-to videos. Love that pattern. That's by 100 Axis Sewing. Morgan Jeans is by Closet Core Patterns. The Hudson pants by True Bias, those are a knit wear relaxed pant, you know, kind of like a loungewear, wide elastic waistband. I made a pair of those for a sponsored stream, and I'm already kind of caught the fabric to make myself some. I didn't work from home this year like a lot of folks did, but I do need more clothing that kind of suits the cozy home lifestyle, so I'm going to start with those. Lastly, I think I'd like to make the Alcott again by Cashmerette. That was also a sponsored stream. I really love the way that dress fit me, and I love the way it fit me on the back, and it doesn't usually happen for me that things fit me on my back, my lower back. It's right out the gate. So I really like that. I'm going to make that again probably. It's a knitwear dress. And the Scout. I think I would like to make more Scouts. I think my favorite one is made on the Bias. It's more comfortable. And that's just a t-shirt by Grainline Studio that is out of a woven, which is kind of nice. We have a lot of wovens in our lives. They're easier to come by in the fabric store. There's more of a selection for them. And so that makes it kind of a useful little pattern. And with all those pants that I want to make, I probably need a few more Scouts. All right, so those are my lists. Let me know what you would make again this year, what you would like to see me make in 2021. And stay tuned for my little slideshow here. I'm pretty excited about that. It was a really great year, really great sewing with you. I really enjoy the experience of a live stream. I know it's not for everybody, and I have a few ideas this year, probably more uploaded things, but I really appreciate you being there. Thank you so much, and happy sewing.